Welcome everybody, welcome to the channel. It's been only 1 year since the last video in this series, Piers of Italy, but I promise you that you're going to enjoy today's video. We were going to see a city that, in my opinion, is probably the most beautiful city in the world. So welcome to Piers of Italy and welcome to Napoli. So we are in Palazzo dello Spagnolo. This building was built in 1738 and it was basically property of a marquis. As you can see, one of the main features which makes this building unique is the double staircase, which is defined as hawk wings. This was conceived as a sort of meeting place, and it was designed by an architect named Ferdinando Sanfelice. The palace is one of the main examples of Napolitan Baroque style. The main element which makes this building unique, in my opinion, is the double staircase, as you can see. In the latest part of the century, the palace was built by a Spanish nobleman who was named Lo Spagnolo. So that's the reason why the palace took this name after, Palazzo dello Spagnolo. The building is also characterized by Rococo style decorations, which is a typical element of Napolitan Baroque style. We are in front of the Cathedral of Napoli. This is the main church in the city and also one of the biggest in the whole Napoli. So the church hosts two other buildings which are connected. One is the Basilica of Santa Restituta, which hosts the oldest baptistery in the west, and the other one is the chapel of the Royal Treasury of San Gennaro, which hosts the relics of the patron saint of the city. It is one of the largest and most important churches in the city, both from an artistic point of view. In fact, you can notice the superimposition of several styles, ranging from pure Gothic of the 14th century to the Neo-Gothic of the 19th century, and from a cultural point of view. In fact, it hosts the ritual of the dissolution of the blood of San Gennaro 3 times a year, when the dried blood usually liquefies. It is said that if the blood fails to liquefy, disaster will befall the city of Napoli. So apparently Basilica of Santa Restituta was the site of a Roman basilica, so you can still notice the Roman columns here. So we are in San Gregorio Armeno, one of the most popular streets in the historic center of Napoli. This street is particularly famous because of small artisan shops producing nativity scenes, as you will see soon after. The origin of the nativity scene tradition of San Gregorio goes back in time. During classical times in this area there was a temple dedicated to the goddess Ceres, to which citizens offered small terracotta statues as ex voto, manufactured in the nearby shops. Then the Napolitan nativity scene was born much later, dating back around the 18th century. Today, Via San Gregorio Armeno is known all over the world as the exhibition center of the craft shops located here that now all year round make statuettes for nativity scenes, some of which can be very original. So we are in the monastery of Santa Chiara, and this is the main among the 4 cloisters. It's called the Clarice Cloister or Maiolica Cloister, and it was built in 1739, designed by the architect Domenico Antonio Vaccaro. In 1943, during the Second World War, a bombing destroyed most of the church, but fortunately the cloister of Clarice was preserved. So the cloister is surrounded by 72 pillars, and it's divided by these 2 main avenues which cross in the center. The 2 main avenues are surrounded by 64 maiolica pillars. The maiolica, as you can see, is this kind of tile and decoration which normally in this cloister represents either mythological scenes or scenes of the daily life of Napoli in the 17th and 18th century. And it's very interesting because it's a testimony of that historical period and the daily life in Napoli. So we are on the top of Omero Hills. Here is Castel Sant'Elmo, which dominates the city. Below me it's Largo San Martino, from where you can enjoy a wonderful view of the historic center of Napoli. And Castel Sant'Elmo was built around the 14th century on a previous site which was dedicated to San Erasmo, from which the name Ermo and then Elmo, which gives the name to the current castle. Castel Sant'Elmo was besieged several times during its history for its strategic position that allowed to control the whole city of Naples, and it was also a military target, especially during the wars between French and Spanish for the conquest of the Kingdom of Napoli. During its history, it also became a prison for several years, and where famous historical figures were held prisoners, including Tommaso Campanella, a very famous Italian philosopher, until the 1980s, when it became a museum. The castle represents one of the most significant examples of 16th century military architecture. Its elevated position, hexagonal star shape, and large moat, and also double tenay design made this fortress, today the beating heart of Neapolitan culture, virtually unimpregnable. So we are in the Royal Palace of Napoli. This was one of the main residencies of the House of Bourbons during their dynasty, particularly important under Charles III of Bourbons. It was also enriched in terms of decorations during the French reign by Joachim Murat. And one of the main features of this palace is the monumental staircase where I'm sitting right now, which was built between 1651 and 1666. And it was designed by an architect, Antonio Francesco Picchiatti. This was defined by Montesquieu as the most beautiful staircase in Europe. So we have come to the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed this little trip in Napoli. It was really just a glimpse of what the city has to offer, but I hope that you enjoyed it, and please, if you can, come and visit Naples and the beauties that it has to offer. If you liked the video, please leave a comment or share it with a friend that would like to visit Napoli. And I'll say goodbye in front of Maschio Angioino, which is one of the most extraordinary fortresses in Naples. So goodbye, and see you in the next video of Peers of Italy.